Let's go back to the New York primary now. The rules slightly different because the candidates did not file their own slates of delegates this year. This means the state GOP committee will be selecting all of the actual delegates. That's why the delegates' loyalties will be unknown if the convention goes past the first ballot in New York. So who could this change end up helping? Phil Kerpen, president of American Commitment, is here. He's a delegate specialist. Why the heck did New York change this rule? So basically, the delegates are picked from within the party. This just feeds into what Donald Trump is talking about, does it not?
Oh, I think so. This was a change. They put this into place last year, and you're right. Every previous election in New York, the candidates themselves have selected the delegates that they want, and they've had a slate of them that's been listed actually on the ballot. And when they win, they got their delegates to go. So it was sort of the most candidate-centric process. Now, because of this rule change last year, it'll be basically the least candidate-centric and the most party insider-heavy process imaginable, because the state Republican committee will literally appoint all of the delegates in New York. And they said the reason they did this was that they wanted to be able to reward party regulars, people who regularly volunteered, contributed, were part of the party, involved in the party. And from their perspective, I think they didn't necessarily anticipate that we would be in a potential contested convention scenario. They thought this will be a way to reward our good party workers with a trip to Cleveland and something nice for them. But it could end up looming very, very large this year, given all that's happening.
No doubt. Okay, and speaking of those perks and rewards and gifts and whatever else may be coming delegates' ways, let's take a look at Trump's Nevada State Director email that he sent out. Here's what he said. With overwhelming success throughout each county, we're in a strong position going into the state convention being held in Reno on May 14th and 15th. We'll also be announcing trainings, lodging, and transportation opportunities for delegates within the next couple of days. So I guess Trump's campaign may actually get in on this game then. He's kind of insinuated that he wouldn't, but get in on the game of trying to woo the delegates with stuff.
Well, I don't think it's so much wooing with stuff as it is just trying to get their supporters there to the convention. Of course, they've done a very poor job of that in a number of states. I think their original strategy was premised on the idea of clinching it on the first ballot with those pledge delegates so that it wouldn't really matter what the true loyalties are. But now they're sort of looking at the map and looking at the numbers, and they're starting to get concerned that they could come up short in pledge delegates, and so they're scrambling to play catch-up to try to get their genuine supporters in there.
You know, it's interesting because some of this narrative, as we've been discussing, it feeds right into what Donald Trump is saying, especially when you look at New York State. You know, it does look like it's an inside ball game, and that it does favor the party elites and the incumbents, et cetera, and not the outsider. But then you go back and look at some of Donald Trump's tweets from 2012. When he was talking about the delegate system, it seemed like he knew what was going on. So you have this one about Rick Santorum. He says Rick Santorum is ineligible for 30 delegates next month due to his campaign missing deadlines. And then Rick Santorum, lost his 06 Senate race by 18 points. He is also disqualified for 18 Ohio delegates. Now, I guess we could assume, Phil, that maybe Donald Trump didn't write these tweets, that somebody else who knew a lot more about delegates did, or that he did write these tweets and had some sort of an understanding of the process.
Yeah, look, I think he understands the delegate process. He understands that it's not going very well for him in terms of, second and later ballot, the actual delegate selection. So he's trying to sort of seed the narrative that if he doesn't get it, it's unfair and something illegitimate's happened, so that he can gain leverage with the public in the event of a contested convention. Now, about New York, you couldn't be more right. It'll literally be the most insider process imaginable. All these other states where they've had these conventions and caucuses, regular voters have been able to show up at those and to vote. In New York, it's literally only state Republican committee members that'll get to vote. And so they're going to have these meetings district by district sometime next month, and the only people who will get to vote at those are the members of the state Republican committee. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Guaranteed that won't be the case 4 years from now, I don't think. But we're learning more and more, and as you say, who could have ever predicted that we would be in this situation? Phil, thanks for your expertise.